YouTube, vinyl community, Beatles fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we're here today to talk about my collection of Beatles albums on the green Target Capital label. Um, as most of you collectors know, if you're looking for original Beatles records, they're going to be on the black color band label. So the middle of the label is black for Capital. That's got the color band going around it. That's the original ones. And there's been multiple variations over the years where in the late 60s, early 70s, they went to the lime green ones, and then there were red ones and orange ones and purple ones and back to green and all kinds of stuff. They've been all over the place. So for a collector, it can be a nightmare or it can be a lot of fun. So I'm very selective with what I collect when it comes to the multiple label variations. I've had all the black label Capital Classic ones forever. In the last few years, I've really focused on trying to find all the green Target ones that I can because I love that logo. And to my ear, they sound different. I don't know what it is. I doubt they remastered them or remixed them in any sort of way, but for some reason, the pressings on these sound more dynamic and rich and fulfilling. I don't know why. It could just be me, but I don't know. But the Capital Green label, I'll show you my collection here. It's not humongous, but I'll show you what I got. So basically, the Capital Green label, let me pull one out of the sleeve here. Here's a copy of Something New. So, yeah, the jackets themselves were nothing different, just your standard fare for jackets. But just take a look at these logos, these labels. I mean, they're so cool. And that's why I picked them up. They look awesome. That big bright lime green with the purple C Capital label there. They're very eye-catching, and I just find them fascinating. They're a little harder to find. I wouldn't say they're impossible to find because they're out there. They press millions of these things. They were issued by Capital between 1969 and the fall of 1972. And all over the world. So the UK got these things, Canada got these, America got these. And singles would get like a variant with like a red and orange kind of circle thing. But after they dropped this, they went to an even more scarce red version of this. So the same purple label, same purple Capital logo, but a red label. And there's known copies of Revolver and Yesterday and Today pressed on those labels, but they're extremely rare. Up in Canada, they pressed the red Capital label for a couple of years anyway. So they're much more common in Canada. The Scranton press at that point, the plant that they had for Capitol Records, they were closing that one up by that point. So most of them were made in Winchester, Virginia. And I doubt you'll be able to see this, but so see under the ring light there? You can see what looks like a triangle with a line next to it. That's how you know it's a Winchester pressing, because it was supposed to be like a Winchester rifle. So they would carve that sort of rudimentary Winchester rifle in there. So that's how you know it came from Winchester, Virginia. But yeah, I discovered these labels as a kid because my dad's copy of Revolver had one, which I always thought was interesting. He bought most of those albums the day they came out, but he also had, family and friends that were also buying those things. So he probably just listened to whoever else had a copy at the time, or he just felt like buying his own. I don't know, but so there's that one. Here's Beatles 6. Kind of a little bit of a warped jacket on this guy. See how it kind of bows out a little bit. And by this point, they had corrected the back cover. So the original ones say see label for sequence, but by this point they had corrected it. But it's just another Winchester, yeah. They just look so cool, man. I can't get over it. Every Beatles record except for, let me rephrase this. So everything after Magical Mystery Tour was not pressed on these labels. So Magical Mystery Tour was the last one to be pressed on the green the lime green Target label. And I don't think they did the Beatles story. I don't think that was issued on this. As far as I can remember, anyway. This is one of my most recent, no, where is it? This is my most recent acquisition for the green label. The early Beatles. One of my favorite album covers that the Beatles ever put out. I know it's the Beatles for Sale era, but that blue and red font mentioning that the songs are finally now on Capitol. So good. And this one in particular sounded really, really well balanced as well. This one's cool because on the jacket here, on the inner sleeve, someone wrote March 1965. So they were just keeping track of when these originally came out. I love stuff like that. Finding relics from a former era. So there's the early Beatles. This one is one of my favorites. Beatles 65. Not only because it's one of my favorite albums by them, but this is more of a gray background, which is really cool because most of them are kind of like a beige or a yellowish or a greenish color. This one's more like a grayish blue, which I've never seen before. Still in the shrink. Actually, a handful of these are still in the shrink. Early Beatles was. This one is. Oh, okay, just maybe two of them were. This one has a sticker on here for Winchester Stereo. Must have been a record store at one point. But I love how that grayish blue accents the red, and especially the clean white. Because I mean, this thing looks like came off the shelf back in 1969, 1970. It's in beautiful shape. And they had stopped doing inner sleeves by this point of telling you what other albums you could buy. Those days were done. And some of these are just so cool because they don't even mention the name of the Beatles on it. They say Beatles 65, John Paul, George and Ringo. One other variant of, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, underneath the capital L, it says R for restricted. Some of them say TM for trademark. I don't think there's much of a difference in terms of collectability, but in case you're looking, that's one more thing to keep an eye out for. One thing I find fascinating about these in particular too, I'll have to work to put this one away later because the plastic's a bit iffy on the back. Every time I find a copy of these things, they're always in really good shape. I don't know why. This is a Magical Mystery Tour. Someone wrote their name on it. Mizzy, thank you, whoever you are. But it's got the booklet, which I believe is probably falling out, like most of them do. Is it? Oh yeah, it's falling out. Very hard to find them intact. I remember finding this at an antique store years ago and being like, wow. So, I mean, finding them in the stores is how I find most of my records. I find them online once in a while. Rarely. I don't really buy much online. It's not as fun. I like being able to go to the store and be like, whoa, I found another Green Label one. Perfect. I don't know if that's just the collector in me or my OCD. But I find it way more intriguing and interesting to find them in a store because it's the thrill. It's the, you found this thing you've been looking for and it's yours. And they just don't want to go back into sleeves sometimes. There we go. And this last one here, this is the one I was talking about. This is my dad's copy of Revolver, purchased sometime between 1969 and 1970 or 71. So this is the copy I grew up with as a kid. What's this one here? So this one means the world to me. And all these records are stereo. Yeah. But I was playing this one recently. I mean, it just sounds fantastic. I really don't know if they were remixed or pressed differently, but they just sound great. Who knows? It could just be my imagination running away with me. But that's it. That's my collection as of right now for Beatles green Target label logo. Really poorly worded sentence. So what do I got here? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So that's not bad. I mean, I'm almost there. I gotta get Meet the Beatles' second album. I believe Help was pressed on these. I think Help was on this. Yesterday and Today, Sgt. Pepper. I'm missing one, but I love these things. For me, this is the only other variant I'm going to collect of Beatles records. I don't care too much for the orange ones. I pick up the Apple label ones once in a while. If it's in good shape, I'll grab the Apple label ones. They're pretty fun. I've got several of the purple label ones from the late 70s, early 80s. Those aren't my go-tos, but I find these fascinating. They were only pressed for a couple of years. They just capture my interest. It's just the collector in me. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Giggens. This has been the Beatles green capital logo, Target logos from the late 60s, early 70s. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any of these or what your thoughts are on the sound of them. Let's just talk about these for a while. I think it'll be kind of fun. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.